The only reason I do something is because I think it's good for American workers and the American people and the American economy. I don't have any other rationale for doing what I do than that I think it's the best thing for the American people. And on this issue, on trade, I actually think some of my dearest friends are wrong. They're just wrong.
We will find out if they are. Now, the Federal Reserve will raise the interest rate sometime before the first real human steps foot on Mars. This is something we can safely assume, but then again, you all should know by now the real meaning of the word assume. We also will not be assuming that everyone within the sound of my voice can explain the just announced Pacific Trade Pact in 20 words or less, which is why we bring in the expert. He is the nationally syndicated columnist, veteran economist, and professor of business at the University of Maryland, whose latest column entitled Federal Reserve Rate Hike in Play for December can be read at Newsmax.com. Peter Morici. Peter, I got to tell you something. With regard to the Fed and the fact that we are always talking about the fact that the Fed may raise, may not raise interest rates, we haven't had a tease this good in Washington, D.C. since the days of Fannie Fox. And that will start to date a lot of people here right now. Can we please, Peter, somebody get this done already and stop teasing about it?
Well, you know, half of the value of the Fed is the suspense. I mean, it gives us something to write about when economic news is kind of dull, which it has been lately. The economy rocks along at maybe 2.5%. That's not really super good news. It's not super bad, and that's why the Fed is so much on edge.
Here's the bottom line, though, Peter. In your opinion, is the economy just perfect, just right where it is right now? So you go ahead, get the rate hike in there, and everything will be hunky-dory, and the economy will still spin along beautifully.
Well, it doesn't have to be just perfect for it to be the right time. It just has to have its own flying speed, which I think that it does. It no longer needs the life support of zero interest rates. Now, that doesn't mean the economy might not turn south, but I doubt it would turn south because interest rates are a half a point on the short end of the yield curve. That is the bank's overnight borrowing rate rather than zero.
So what is it about December, then, according to your column, in your opinion, that would make it the right time?
Well, they just got a lousy jobs report, at least in their eyes. I don't think it was so bad. And so that rules out October. And that means probably December, because the Fed wants to get this out of the way. One of the things they learned last time is they can disappoint markets by not following through. I mean, markets expected interest rates to go up in September. They did not. And then the market tanked. We've gotten to the point where the markets want certainty. They've come to realize that interest rates gradually moving from 0 to 2.5% on the short end of the yield curve won't do a lot to mortgage rates, won't do a lot to the value of the dollar. And as a consequence, let's just get it over with.
There, see, I'm glad we brought us all the way around.
Downstairs, your date is at the door. Get in the car and go to the movie.
Okay, that's it. We're stopping there. No, actually not. We have a little bit more to go. But, Peter, I'm so glad that you and I can agree on that. Get it over with. 60 seconds left here. Please, Peter, explain to America the Trans-Pacific Partnership, why it took 6 years to get this thing done, and why it's so important to Joe Beercan.
Well, it does two things. It eliminates tariffs between the United States and about a dozen other countries in Asia, less China. Very important. And it deals with a lot of regulatory issues, and it leaves out China, which means the American, say, Japanese view of the world prevails, and that is of more open markets, less discrimination, more transparent rules for business. All those things should be good things for American business. Because after all, these other countries have higher tariffs, these other countries have more arcane rules, but the rub is it really deliver on making places like Vietnam or Malaysia or whatever clean up their trade rules so that we really can get our products in. With China, that wasn't the case. We got this big whopping trade deficit, and that's why there are so many skeptics about this agreement.
There you go. The simplest way to do it. Just ask Peter and let him tell us so you don't have people like me trying to explain it. Let Peter also explain the Federal Reserve hike. I mentioned this article just a couple of moments ago. I want to remind everybody, Peter's latest column can be read at Newsmax.com. Go to the finance section. There it is. Federal Reserve rate hike still in play for December. Let him explain it to you, and that will be the smartest thing that you can do today. Peter, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again real soon. Stay with us. We'll go ahead, write some more checks that we can go ahead and cash as we continue right here on the fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hard Line.